Who wants to be German Chancellor 30 years from now? These students at St. Benno High School in Dresden are not aspiring to the top job in German politics.
Will you be Chancellor in 30 years?
No, definitely not.
How do you know?
Because I don't want to go into politics.
You're sure?
I'm definitely sure.
Why?
I don't see any reason to go into politics.
But the Chancellor's shoes will have to be filled. If not, who will describe the issues of the day, such as the reform process taking place in North African countries?
We all know that change of this dimension
can't be dealt with overnight. Wanting an all-encompassing solution
for all of today's problems is neither realistic nor helpful.
No. In view of the size of the challenge we face, we will show patience and prepare ourselves for setbacks in the process of reform.
I think that's quite a standard thing to say. Of course, it needs to be called to mind again, because it's not self-evident, and because people get impatient quickly. But it's nothing new.
What do the opposition parties think about the situation in North Africa? It's hard to get a straight answer from them as well.
It's essential that we have a development partnership with the Maghreb region.
Ranging from help in democratization in a European division of labor,
to setting up and expanding democratic administrative structures, to economic development.
Basically, he's saying that if that's how the Social Democrats would solve things, the Christian Democrats or the current government wouldn't do it much differently. Because it's true, you can't do things like that overnight.
Just two examples of how young people are turned off by complicated political lingo.
It was quite complex and difficult. They did a whole lot of talking, but it didn't result in much, and they didn't turn their words into deeds.
There were no clear points, but they have to be careful about what they say, because they can be held to account.
Young people want clarity. The constant political jostling and maneuvering and the complicated jargon they hear in Parliament alienate them. That's the conclusion of a study examining the views of the 16 to 19 age demographic.
They stress that what politicians say is extremely complex, and they'd like them to explain things to them in a way they can understand. But politicians don't often do that. They coin their own expressions and put up rhetorical smokescreens. About 60% of the students have the impression they even do it on purpose, that they hide behind a smokescreen on purpose, and that's a real problem.
Most of the parties have youth groups, but the head of the Christian Democrats youth organization says cutting through the complicated jargon won't solve the problem completely.
Every citizen who is interested in politics really has to be interested in it, because we can't all answer their questions using the language of the tabloids. It's not possible because we often have to explain complex things and relationships.
Other parties say how politicians communicate with the public also needs a rethink.
It's connected with language, but there's also the question of how to interact with young people. Media tools like blogs, Twitter and Facebook are really important because many young people avoid the traditional information stands.
When we're sitting there on television and dealing with young people, we should think about how to get the message across and be clear that it's not a committee meeting or not an audience full of experts. They're ordinary people who don't deal with these topics on a daily basis.
The idea that young people only care about rap music and just hanging out is a myth. They are interested in political topics.
They're interested in these topics as long as they're affected by them. When they think more about it, they say, it's not important for me right now, but when I have children, it will be important, so I should start thinking about it now. What they are interested in are things they encounter every day, such as school and the environment. You can really mobilize them on that issue. They make it clear, if it affects us, we want to get involved.
The teachers at St. Benno High School can confirm that. They say their students want to learn more about politics, but lack the motivation.
I'd say you can get young people interested in politics, but it's hard to motivate them to come and join established political structures. So political parties are not very popular, and it's very difficult to get young people to participate in them.
The students have spent weeks discussing Germany's recent decision to stop using nuclear power, but they still aren't drawn to any political party.
I think it's quite disappointing that some parties go with the flow, like with the exit from nuclear power. Which party can you vote for if you're for nuclear power? I think the sudden U-turn was a bit strange.
So, who will be Chancellor in 30 years? With the students gearing up for summer holidays, we'll have to wait until they return for the answer.